For many Indians, the first time they saw metal was when a couple of men by the name of Lewis and Clark started across this country. Lewis and Clark spent a lot of money getting supplies to go on their little corps of discovery. And one of the things they wanted was a little piece of metal like this. So they went to a blacksmith and they said, make us about a dozen of these. Blacksmith did. Lewis and Clark tried them out, liked them, went back and said, you did a good job, now make us 250. Blacksmith danced a jig. He said, man, at a half a penny a piece, I'll be able to retire. That's a lot of money. Well, they gave him about a month and a half or 2 months, and when they went back, he delivered 244. Lewis and Clark said, that's okay, that'll do. Well, this is just a little piece of steel. 244 of them is heavy. Why on earth would they want to carry a little piece of steel like this? You see, Lewis and Clark knew that when you meet an Indian and you give that Indian a gift, that Indian feels he owes you a gift in return. These were to be gifts for the American Indians. Now imagine this, you are an Indian and you're out looking for food and you have never seen a white person before. You didn't even know they existed. And suddenly out of the woods, out walks this thing that's got different colored skin, wearing clothes that you have never seen. It's an alien. And you stop and you look, and it sees you and it stops, and all of a sudden it goes, and you're thinking, what is this about? What's going on here? So this alien reaches in a pouch and he pulls out one of these and he walks toward you, trying to give it to you. What are you going to do? You've never seen anything like this before. And suddenly here comes a young Indian girl. Most people know her as Sacagawea. Her name was Sacagawea, but that's okay. Sacagawea would come out and she would greet you. She might not speak your language, but all Indians knew sign language. So she would greet you. We come in peace. This white man has a gift. Would like for you to accept it. You take it. You look at it. You've never seen anything like, what on earth is this for? Hanging in my nose, my ear, what? You can't eat it. What's it good for? Sacagawea or Sacagawea would then say, let me show you. Could I have a piece of flint? So you hand her a piece of flint. She shows you very carefully, if you take this piece of steel and you hit it against this piece of flint, you'll get sparks. Well, this is interesting. This is very interesting because, you know, you've never seen sparks like that except little embers that pop out of the fire. So, she says, watch very closely. She would take a little bit of tinder. Boy, did I mess up here. I'm not ready for this, but this won't take but a second. She would take a little bit of tinder. Now, tinder is anything that burns real easy. Could be dry grass, weeds, cedar bark, could even be hair. I don't recommend using hair. Smells bad when it burns, and a lot of people have gone bald-headed starting fires with their hair. My beard caught on fire once. Indians called me Flaming Face for about a month. I didn't think it was so fun. But you take a little bit of tinder, and you can take something called char cloth. Char cloth is 100% cotton that's been burned without air. Now, people say, well, did they have that back in those days? Sure they did. Cotton was pretty prevalent, although back then it was muslin. Muslin works great. But this little piece of cotton or muslin has been burned without air. it will catch a spark. But it won't start the fire by itself. It will just catch the spark. So you can put that on top of that piece of flint. You can hit that piece of flint with the steel. And when you get a spark on it, you'll know because it'll glow. It'll start to get hot. So then all you have to do is wrap that tinder around that char cloth. And if you're outside where the wind's blowing, hold it up in the wind. Inside, you have to blow on it. Add little sticks and twigs, and in a minute you have a campfire. And I have some blood on my finger. Goes to show you how sharp flint is. Very easy to cut yourself with. Now, you have never seen fire from a rock before. Up until then, to start a fire, you had to use a fire bow. It's what most people call rubbing sticks together. You won't get a fire rubbing sticks. A fire bow will work. Your other option, sit on a rock and wait for lightning to strike. You might get a little cold and hungry. So, this is just a pretty important gift. Now, what did Lewis and Clark want in return? Safe passage. That was all. Metal indeed changed the lives of the American Indian.